if you have any documentation section, there you're going to write the comment about the program. Then you have package. Whenever you're hearing the word constructor, just remember that constructor name must be same as class name. Suppose if I want to display the content which is in my Applet program, then I must include paint method. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my model question paper discussion session. And the subject name here is Object Oriented Programming using Java. I'm Revati, faculty from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, in my today's session, I'm going to deal with model question paper. And if I consider second semester Java paper, then I'm going to have two parts, that is part A and part B. Okay, and this paper especially for 60 marks, in the sense I'm going to write the exam only for 60 marks. And if I consider part A, I'm having 45 marks, and part B, it is 15 marks. So total this paper only for 60 marks. And if I consider part A, from each unit, I'm getting 15 marks. So 3 units, 3 into 15, so 45. In the sense, first question, I have A and I'm having B. So under A, I have options like I, that is 1, and this is 2. Okay, so it may be 8 mark or 7 mark. And this may be 7 mark or 8 mark. And under B, once again, first question, then second question. So dear student, if I consider part B, I have only 15 marks. In the sense, I want to write 3 full questions and each question carries 5 marks. So 3 into 5, it is 15. And this paper is only for 60. And at the same time, you will be having practical exam. And theory paper is only for 60 marks. Now, dear student, if I consider part A, what are the questions you can expect? That is, first one, in first main, A, first question, explain the features of Java. So, dear student, this is very important question. And this question is for 8 marks. In the sense, you have to list all the points. Along with that, you have to elaborate the answer. So, what are the features? Java is object-oriented, platform independent or platform neutral, simple program, secure program, architectural neutral, portable, robust, multi-threaded. So these are the some of the features of Java programming. So dear student, first you have to list all the points, then you have to elaborate it because it carries 8 marks. Now dear student, I can expect second question, that is, explain the structure of Java programming with example. So dear student, this is also very important question and you can expect this question for your final exam. So what is the question? Explain the structure of Java program with example. Now dear student, if I consider Java program, I have to write the programming structure. So at the beginning, I'm going to have package statement, documentation section, import statement, class definitions, as well as method. That is nothing but the main method classes. So what are the structure? There are 5 structure, that is package statement, documentation section, import section, class definition, main method class. So dear student, it carries 7 marks. For that reason, you have to elaborate the answer. So you have to write what is package statement, what is documentation section, what is import statement, and what are the package you're going to import. You have to explain what is class definition along with main method class. At the same time, you have to write one simple example here. So dear student, see, class, it's a keyword, and what is my class name? That is sample 1. Now, in my program, see, this is the main program, and public static void main string args, and I'm going to print Java is better than C++. So dear student, you have to import packages. Then if you have any documentation section, there you're going to write the comment about the program. Then you have package. So this is the simple program. So dear student, this program and this question is very important from the examination point of view. Now, if I consider first question, I have OR. So A or B. Under B, once again, first question and second question. So dear student, the next expected question is, what is constructor, and explain the type of constructor with example. So dear student, this question is for 7 marks. So what is constructor? Just remember that whenever you're hearing the word constructor, just remember that constructor name must be same as class name. So here constructor is nothing but a method, but the constructor name must be class name, and it is mainly used to initialize the object, and it does not have any return type. So constructor is a block of code that is similar to method. Okay, now there are 2 types of constructor, default constructor as well as parameterized constructor. Now dear student, this question carries 7 marks. So it's better to write one program. So here, what is my class name? That is main. And here, it is once again main. Okay, fine. Now, see here, this is nothing but the class name, and this is nothing but the method name. Okay, and here I'm having one more method called main program. See here, I'm using small letter main, and here it is capital letter M. So this main is different from this main. Fine. Now I'm going to create the object for this class. Okay, when I create the object, the particular constructor get called. And what kind of constructor it is? Default constructor. Now dear student, I'm going to have the second question, that is how to define 2-dimensional array in Java. Explain with example. So dear student, what's the question? How to define 2-dimensional array, and I want to explain with the example, and it carries 8 marks. Now dear student, first you have to tell what is 2-dimensional array. So dear student, if I want to access any element which is stored in the array, and to access the element, if I required two index or two indices, then it is known as two-dimensional array. So here two-dimensional array is the simplest form of multi-dimensional array. So a two-dimensional array can be seen as array of one-dimensional array. So dear student, if I consider matrix, that's the best example for two-dimensional array. So here think that I have 2 cross 2 matrix. Okay, so 2 rows and 2 columns. Now think that I have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Suppose if I want to access 3, I must have row index as well as column index. Okay, so two dimension in the sense what? 2 subscript or 2 index. So syntax, first I want to write the data type and I have to specify that it is array. Okay, and I want to specify the array name. And I'm going to use new keyword, and it's mainly used to create the array. Fine. Example. Okay. New int 10 into 20. So dear student, 10 into 20, it is nothing but 200. So this ARR holds 200 memory block. Now, this is the simple program used to illustrate two-dimensional array. So, what is my class name? GFG, and this is my main program. Now, see here, I'm going to create two-dimensional array. So, here 1, 2, 3, 4. So, this one is row 1, this is row 2, and this one is column 1, and this one is column 2. So, dear student, this for loop is for row and this for loop is for column. So, here 0, 0, then 0, 1. Now, 1, 0, 1, 1. So, this is my outer loop and this is my inner loop, and I'm trying to display the content. Now, dear student, I'm going to have the second question from second unit. Okay, so in my second question, once again, I have A and B. Here I have first question, second question. Here also I have first question and second question. And what is the question? What is inheritance? Explain with example. So, dear student, it carries 8 marks. What is inheritance? So, I'm going to use the properties of existing class in my new class. In the sense, I'm going to create new class by using existing class. So, inheritance in Java is a concept that acquires the properties from one class to another. And what kind of relationship? That is father and son relationship. Now, I want to write this syntax. So, here class, derived class extends base class. So, here base class is nothing but the father and derived class is nothing but the son. In the sense, son can able to acquire all the property or all the belongings of the father. Now, this is the simple example. So, which is my parent class? That is nothing but the doctor. And I'm going to have the class called surgeon, and this is my son. Okay, fine. Now, see here, I'm going to acquire all the properties of doctor. Now, it is inheritance, so I want to use the keyword extends. And I have another class called hospital. Now, for this surgeon, I'm going to create the object, and with the help of S, I'm going to call the method which is present in the parent class, as well as I'm going to call the method surgeon underscore details which is present in the subclass. Now, I'm going to have second question. What is package? And explain with example. And this question carries 7 marks. So, dear student, first I want to define what is package. So, a Java package is nothing but a similar type of classes, interfaces as well as sub-package. So, what is Java package? It includes classes, interfaces as well as sub-package. Then there are two types of package. One is built-in package, in the sense it is already written by someone and it is kept inside the Java package, and I'm going to use those package according to my necessity. And another one, user can able to define their own package, is known as user defined package. Now, how can I create package? To create user defined package, I must include the keyword package, and I want to specify package name. For example, package, here it is my package. Now, dear student, this is the simple program used to illustrate package. So, here I am creating my package. So, what is my package name? My package. Fine. See, inside this my package, I'm going to write the class. So, what is class name? Simple. And welcome to the package. So, what is package here? That includes classes, interfaces as well as sub-package. Now, dear student, under second main, I'm having B. Okay, in B, once again, I have first question. What is thread? Explain its life cycle, and it carries 8 marks. So, dear student, from the examination point of view, this topic is very, very important. So, what is thread here? Thread is nothing but lightweight process, or program in execution is known as thread, and each process must have its own life cycle. And if I consider thread is going to have the life cycles like new, runnable, running, waiting as well as dead. Okay, a newly created thread, that is new stage. And if I want to move from new to runnable, then I'm going to call the method called start. Now, if I want to move from runnable to running, then I'm going to call the method run. Suppose if I want to wait to other process to complete its execution, then I can call the method sleep or wait. Suppose if I want to stop the execution, then I want to call dead. Okay, this is the complete life cycle of a thread. Now, dear student, I'm going to have the second question, that is, what is exception handling? Explain in detail. So, dear student, it is for once again 7 marks. So, I want to tell what is exception handling. Okay, so what is exception handling? Exception in the sense what? Errors. And in Java, to handle all kinds of runtime error, I'm going to have exception handling. So, the exception handling in Java is one of the powerful mechanism to handle the runtime errors so that the normal flow of the application can be maintained. In the sense, if there is any error in the program, what's going to happen? It's going to change the flow of the execution of the program. Okay, now this is the syntax. So I have try. In my try block, I'm going to write the code what I want to execute. If this code generates any error that can be catched by the catch block. So here try must be always followed by the catch block. Now this is the simple program I have. So what is my class name? That is Java exception example. In this I have the main method. Now I'm going to write the try block, and what is the statement? That is 100 divided by 0. And what kind of error it's going to generate? That is divide by 0. Okay, so this code is going to generate error that can be catched by the catch block. So what kind of error? Arithmetic exception E, and I'm trying to display the error. Okay, now if I consider third unit, see here, third unit, first main, that is A. Under this, once again, first question and second question. B, first question, second question. Okay, fine. Now, what is event? Explain its types. So, what is event? Event can be defined as changing the state of an object or behavior. Okay, for example, think that I'm going to press the mouse button. So that is the example for an event. When I press the button, it's going to change the behavior of an object, or it's going to change the behavior by performing some actions. So actions can be a mouse button click, or cursor movement, or key press through the keyboard, or page scrolling. And if I consider Java events, there are two types of events, that is foreground events as well as background events. If I consider foreground events are the events that requires user interaction to generate an event. Example, when I press the mouse button, when I scroll the mouse, or when I press keyboard. Okay, so foreground events are generated due to interaction by the user on components in graphical user interface. Now, if I consider background events, these kind of events are generated as well as managed by the operating system. So, dear student, if there is any interrupt occurred, or if operating system fails, then it's going to generate some kind of events, and that is known as background events. So here, background events does not require any user interaction. Now, dear student, I'm going to have another question, and it carries 8 marks. So, what is a layout manager? Explain in detail. So, I want to tell what is layout manager, and I want to explain in detail. So what is layout manager? It is used to arrange the components. So dear student, if I consider components, I have text button, label, button, checkbox, radio buttons, etc. Now I want to align all these things in some order or in some manner. Then I'm going to have layout manager. So layout managers are used to arrange components in a particular manner. And Java supports layout manager to control the positioning as well as size of the component. And layout manager is an interface that is implemented by all the classes of layout manager. And Java provides border layout, flow layout as well as grid layout. And if I consider border layout, so what is border layout? It is used to arrange the components in 5 regions. So dear student, I am having the components like text box, button, label, radio button, checkbox, grid view, etc. Now I want to arrange these components. So that is in the form of north, south, east, west and center. Okay, in the sense if I want to align the component in the middle, then it is center, or north, south, east and west. And what are the methods it supports? That is public static final integer type north, public static final integer type south, public static final int east, public static final integer type west. Once again, public static final int and center. Okay, so it provides 5 different regions. Now, if I consider grid layout, the Java grid layout class is used to arrange the components in a rectangular grid. Okay, suppose if I want to arrange all the components in rectangular grid, then I'm going to have the grid layout. So, what are the constructor I can have under grid layout? That is grid layout. It is used to create grid layout with 1 column per component in a row. So, if I use grid layout, then I can have 1 column and each column can have the row. Now, grid layout int row and int column creates a grid layout with the given rows and columns. For example, if I want to create 2 rows and 2 columns, then I can have grid layout int row and int column. Another constructor, grid layout int row, int column, int h gap and v gap. That is horizontal gap and vertical gap. In the sense, I want to specify the distance between 2 components which is in the grid layout. So I can able to specify row, column, horizontal distance as well as vertical distance. Now dear student, I'm going to have the B in that first main. What is Applet? Explain its life cycle. So what is an applet? First I want to define, then I want to define its lifestyle. It carries 7 marks. So what is applet? Applets are the small program. And to run applet program, I required web browser. And where I'm going to place the applet code in my web page. To run my web page, I must have web browser. An applet is a Java program that can be embedded into a web page. It runs inside the web page or web browser. Applets are not standalone program. Okay, to run applet, I must place the applet program in my web page. And to run the applet, I must require web browser. Okay, applets are mainly used to generate dynamic content. Dynamic in the sense what? The website contents are going to change frequently. Applets works on the client side and the response time is fast. Okay, now if I consider Java applet life cycle, I'm having init. That is nothing but the initialization. Applet can be initialized by using init method. Now, to start the applet, I have start method. Now, dear student, paint method. The paint method is used to display the content. Okay, suppose if I want to display the content which is in my applet program, then I must include paint method. The next step is stop. Stop in the sense what? If I want to stop the execution of the applet, then I'm going to call the method stop. And if I want to remove the applet from the memory, then I'm going to call the method called destroy. Okay, this is the life cycle of an applet. Now, dear student, I'm going to have second question under B. What is swing? Explain with example. So, what is swing? So, swings are the part of Java foundation class. Okay, it always present on the top of the abstract windowing tool kit, and it's mainly used to create Windows based application. Now, dear student, this is the simple program I'm going to have here. So, dear student, it is swing. So, import Java x.swing. And what is my class name? First swing example. And inside that, I'm going to have the main method and I'm going to create the frame. So, here frame is nothing but the container. Okay, now in my frame, I want to create button. So, it is swing. I want to add J. Here, J frame, J button. Okay. Now, I want to set the bounds. So, what I will do? First, I am going to create the object of the type J button. With the help of object, I am going to call set bounds. After that, I am going to start adding the button. So, it is add. Okay, I am going to call the method called adding. So, adding button in J frame. So, for the frame, I am going to add the button. So, F is nothing but the object of J frame. So, F dot add B. B is nothing but the button object. And I am going to set the size. Even I am going to set the layout. Even I am going to set the visibility. Okay, this is the simple example for swings. Now, dear student, this is my part B. Okay, so dear student, this paper is only for 60 marks. In my first main, that is part A, only for 45 marks, and part B, it is for 15 marks. Under part B, I have 5 main questions. Out of 5, I want to answer any 3 and each question carries 5 marks. So 3 into 5 it is 15. Now the first question, Java program to print natural numbers from 1 to n. So dear student, I want to write a Java program to print the natural number, that is 1 to n. So dear student, this program is used to read the input from the keyboard. So I am using scanner. And this scanner is present under this util. Now, what is my class name? That is natural number 1. Okay, fine. Now, I am going to create the object of the type scanner. So, SC is nothing but the object of the type scanner. Now, I have main program and here I have number and I. Okay. Now, SC equal to new scanner system.in. Now, I'm going to display the message to the user in the sense, please enter any number. With the help of scanner object, okay, I'm going to read the input. So, number equal to sc dot next int. It's a method and it's mainly used to convert string to integer, because in Java, whatever the thing we are going to read from the keyboard, that is in the form of string. Now, I want to convert that into integer. So, next int. Now, I want to display the number, that it is natural number. Okay. For example, if n is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, I want to display. So, it is nothing but the repeated process. So, what I will do, I am going to write this one inside the for loop. Okay. Now, I am going to display all the natural numbers one by one. Now, dear student, I am going to have my second question, that is, write a short note on Java data types. Okay, this is the question. I want to write the short note on data types and it carries 5 marks. So, what is data type? To identify the particular type of data or the particular kind of data, I have Java data types and it is classified into primitive and non-primitive. Under primitive, I have Boolean and I'm going to have the numerical. And if I consider numeric, I have character as well as integral. And if I consider integral, then I have byte, short, int, long. Even if I consider floating point, I have float as well as double. And if I consider non-primitive data type, then I have string, arrays, etc. Okay, so you have to define what is data type and you have to tell what is primitive and what is non-primitive. Under primitive, what are the types you have, and under non-primitive, what are the types you have. Now, dear student, let me to consider another question, that is, what is polymorphism? Explain with example. So, dear student, this question is only for 5 marks. So, poly in the sense what? Many. Morphism in the sense what? Form. So, many form. Fine. Now, polymorphism in Java is a concept by which we can perform a single action in different ways. Polymorphism is a keyword which is derived from Greek word poly and morphism. So, a single method can have multiple forms. Okay, so polymorphism means many forms. if you consider me, I'm going to handle Java as well as I'm going to handle .NET. So, person is same but capable to handle different subject. So, it means many form. In the sense, I'm handling many subject. Okay, fine. Now, dear student, see here, I have the class called helper. See, I have the multiply. Here also, I have multiply. Okay, so method name is same. What is same here? Method name is same, but parameters are different. Okay, single method, different parameters. Method name same, but different parameters. See here, 2 parameters. Here it is 3 parameters. So what is polymorphism? A function can have multiple forms. Function name remains same, but different data types or different number of variables. Okay, that is known as polymorphism. And in my main function, see, I'm going to pass the value 2, 4. This is for first method multiply. It is capable to take 2 variables A and B. Next time I'm passing 2, 7, 3. So this is for the second method. Now the job of the compiler is to identify which parameter for which method. Now dear student, I'm going to have the fourth question, that is write a short note on abstract class, and it is for 5 marks. So what is abstract class? A class which is declared with the keyword abstract. In the sense, if I want to define abstract class, then I must preside with the keyword abstract. Then I want to specify the class. Okay, abstract is a process of hiding implementation details and showing only the functionality to the user. So dear student, if I consider abstract class, I'm just having the blueprint. In the sense, I'm just having the abstract method. And where I'm going to implement this method body in my derived class. Okay, so in my next class, I'm going to implement the body. So, abstraction is the process of hiding the implementation details and showing the functionalities to the user. Best example, I can able to consider WhatsApp. Every day we are going to use WhatsApp, but the implementation part is kept hidden to the user. We are using WhatsApp, but we are not going to bother about how it's going to work, okay, how it is implemented. So everything is hidden from the user. Example, I want to use the keyword abstract and class name is A. In my abstract class, I'm going to have the abstract method, that is M1. So dear student, in my abstract class, I can have abstract method as well as non-member method or non-method. Okay, see, abstract method and other method. So this is the example for abstract method and this is the non-abstract method. Fine. Now, suppose if I want to implement M1, then I must extend A in B. Okay, see here, I'm going to extend A in B. Now, for this M1, I'm going to write the body. And I'm going to have the class called abstract demo. And here I'm going to create the main function. And for the class B, I'm creating the object. With the help of B, I'm going to call M2 as well as M1. Okay, this is the simple program used to illustrate abstract class. Now, dear student, I'm going to have another question, that is write a Applet program to add 2 number and it carries 5 marks. So dear student, this is the last question under part B. So dear student, let's see the program here. See here, I want to import AWT, that is Abstract Windowing Toolkit, even events, even Applet, because I'm writing Applet program. Fine. Public class edition, I'm going to use Applet. Okay, I'm going to use the features of Applet in my edition. So I'm extending Applet and I'm going to create the object of the type label. So L1, L2, L3. Then I have text field T1, T2, T3 and I have button. So dear student, think that this is the form you have. So number 1, this is label 1, text box 1, num 2, text box 2, label 3, that is sum. To display, I'm going to use another text box, and to control the form, I have button controller. So it is button. Okay, button B. Now int x comma y comma z. Okay, and this is my applet program. So I want to use the method init to initialize the applet. See, L1 new label and it is number 1. Next text field, this one, label 2, this one, text field. So sum is nothing but the total and I want to display the sum, and at the same time my button is nothing but add. So here button is nothing but add. And what kind of action? That is add action listener. So when I press the button, okay, so action listener, new test. See, I'm adding label 1, label 2, label 3, okay, and text 1, text 2, text 3, as well as a button. Now I'm going to implement the action listener event. So action listener, if action performed, what's the action want to perform? That is if E dot get source equal to B. That's nothing but the button. So I want to parse int, in the sense whatever the thing I'm going to read from the keyboard, that is in the form of string. So I want to convert that into integer. So parse int and it's of type integer. Once again, extract second number, okay, convert it into integer. Now add, that is x plus 1. After adding, where I want to display the output? In my text box 3. That is nothing but T3 dot set text, and I'm going to display the value. Okay, this is the way I can able to write the applet program. Now, where I'm going to write the applet code? See here, in my HTML section, I want to include this applet code. Okay, so to include, I'm going to use applet tag. Applet tag, I want to specify the applet program. So edition.java. And I'm going to specify the height and width of the applet, and I'm going to close the applet. At the same time, I'm going to close the body as well as HTML. Okay, dear student, this is all about model question paper. And if I consider Java model question paper, it's only for 60 marks. Under part A, 45 marks. Under part B, 15 marks. So, total it is 60 marks. Anyway, dear student, this is all about model question paper. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.